you doing?
Ah, doing okay, man. How are you? You doing all right?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here with you talking. I'm glad that you were able to come on.
No, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the invite. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
But for anyone that missed it in the title, this is our film fan community, and today I get to hang out with Jonathan from Multimedia Mega Fan. That's his YouTube channel. He was kind enough to come on and just kind of hang out with me and see what comes up. We have no predetermined topics. We're just gonna see what comes up and see how we're both doing.
That
So
sounds like a plan.
yeah, I was kind of telling you earlier, like a couple days ago, that the predetermined topic thing, kind of not to worry so much about it because I don't know if you saw any of my last couple our film fan community videos, but those had the topics, and it was coming more across as like a Jimmy Fallon interview than it was just like two friends hanging out. So that's why there's no predetermined topics anymore, is because I want it to feel more like pretend the camera's not even there. Me and you are just chilling.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm totally down with that.
Yeah. So I mean, right off the bat, why don't you like what'd you do today? Did you get to watch any movies today at all?
Oh man, no, actually today, because I actually just filmed the collaboration video that I was just talking about. I just filmed that yesterday with Jen Fedotov from Get Me More, and who's also got an awesome channel. And you guys should definitely check that out as well if you get the opportunity to. But we actually did have a predetermined topic over on my channel. I've just recently tried to implement implement like monthly themes to try to help kind of go back and talk about movies that have a widespread appreciation, either by myself or just overall from the film community, or just have a widespread fan base overall. I really wanted to start dedicating more content to celebrating films rather than trying to strictly offer critique. So I was like, man, let's come up with ideas. Let's try themes. Let's have people vote on them. We ended up, so I took a small vote on my Facebook page and Instagram, and the theme that ended up winning was Supernatural September. So I got a little late started on it, and I probably was a little bit over ambitious. So I have been working my butt off on trying to get content done for that. And part of that was the discussion that I had with Jen, which talked about the 1982 film Poltergeist. So I've been spending a lot of time actually both in discussion with and researching and editing through B-roll for clips for that particular video. And that's basically, between that and running the kids back and forth to and from school, that's basically how I spent my day, was in the editing room. So how
Wow.
about you, man? How'd you spend your day?
I put a full 8 hour day into work. I didn't get to watch any movies or nothing. So, but hopefully after me and you're done talking tonight, I'm gonna go home, and I've been trying to rewatch the not Friday the 13th. I don't know why I said that. The Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah, yeah.
So number three is up next. So I'm gonna be watching that, and then at some point this week, I keep saying it, but some point this week I need to sit down and watch Trick or Treat. So
I haven't seen that one yet. Yeah,
I haven't either, but it keeps coming up, and I keep promising people I'm gonna watch it. So maybe I'll just watch that tonight and do Nightmare on Elm Street 3 another night. Because I do keep promising people that, and I feel really bad. So yeah.
yeah, I know how that is. Like, it's like whenever you're like tell somebody, because I also do. I have a music channel where I do like music reactions and stuff like that, and basically people just throw different suggestions at me, and because I've been so busy with this other channel, I actually had to take a 2 week break from that. And I've got people just even from like, well over 2 months ago, just because those videos actually thankfully took off pretty well. But I have a lot of people that are throwing a lot of suggestions at me, and I reply to all the comments, and I'm like, man, yeah, absolutely. And I have this running list, and I let them know, yeah, I've added it to the list. I'm looking forward to checking it out. But it's like, I don't know exactly when I'll get to it, but I will get there.
Yeah. Going back to Poltergeist, you said that that is a video that you're working on. I have a little story about Poltergeist for you if you want to hear that.
Absolutely. Please do share. Yes.
So Poltergeist was the first movie that legitimately scared the crap out of me. Like so so me and my mom and my stepdad, we would have family movie nights, and I don't know how the topic of Poltergeist came up. Maybe it was around Halloween. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember my mom being like, "Oh, well, maybe like another year, like maybe it might be too scary, blah blah blah." And my stepdad was like, "No, he can. Yeah, no, it's fine. Let's watch it. Let's watch it." So I was so scared by the movie that we had made Sundays. We had paused the movie, in the beginning, made Sundays and stuff before like it like really ramps up in the movie. And I didn't touch my Sunday because I was grabbing on to my stepdad because of how scared I was. So my whole ice cream melted and went to waste. And yeah, that was the first movie that legitimately frightened me.
And the reason that I ask this is because, and I brought this up with Jen too, is that I'm ashamed to admit, because I grew up being a huge horror fan altogether, and a huge, especially once I was in high school, I became this like, I was really into supernatural horror after watching The Exorcist, and it was like, and then after The Ring came out, and I was always looking for something to kind of live up to those things. Then after I became a dad, I kind of lost touch with it for a little while, and there weren't that many films that really came out in that genre that really held my interest all that well. And it became kind of a lost thing. So I didn't actually, until I started to get back into this whole thing a little bit more full head on within the last few years, as far as, man, I want to get back into watching movies that I haven't watched and that I never got around to seeing. And so I'm ashamed to admit, I literally, my very first time viewing The Poltergeist was like 2 weeks ago. Like that was the first time I had ever seen it. So how old were you when you got to see it the first time?
So if I had to take a guess, I would probably say like 7 or 8, maybe closer to like 7. I don't know.
And I could definitely, yeah, I can definitely, going back to knowing how I was at 7 or 8, I could definitely see that doing
Yeah,
it.
like,
I
am I
could
gonna
see.
get sucked into the TV after this is over? Like,
Yeah, well, and that dude, I was in high school to see, going back to the TV. That's how I was. I was in high school after seeing The Ring. And I mean, it was 15 years old. And then at night, and I had one of those old, like this is back then, I still had one of those old tube TVs that if you didn't have it on the cable receiving channel, that's what it would give you, is the static and snow. And boy, I didn't want to see that night, man. Like, no.
are there some other horror movies that like you may have like missed, or maybe like maybe not even just horror movies, just movies that like in the pop culture zeitgeist you just for some reason missed, like Poltergeist? I don't know how you missed that.
Yeah, there have been several that like over the past year that I actually like just now, just like this movie. It's like, oh man, I finally had the opportunity to see that. One that does fall into the horror genre, kind of in the supernatural, but really it's more so a psychological drama, I'd say. And that's Rosemary's Baby, which was excellent. But yeah, I hadn't seen that until probably about 2 weeks ago. And then the other one that everybody kept saying all throughout, because when I first went to college, I went in and I was going to study for telecommunications. I was trying to get into filmmaking. Like I had a job right out of high school working at the local PBS broadcasting station. So I was kind of thinking that this was what I was wanting to do and get my foot in the door. And then I met my wife and wanted to start settling down. And then I don't know what, I got into my own head and was like, you got to be more realistic about career. I'm not going to sit there and go down that whole line. But while I was still in school, still studying cinematography, one of the films that everybody kept talking about was Citizen Kane. And I had never seen it. And I finally sat down and watched that for the first time, probably about 6 months ago. And I have to say, it definitely, in my opinion, very easily earns its title. it's not one of those movies where it's so hyped and you just hear people talk about how great it is. And it's like, yeah, okay. It's just because that's what people think of it. Like people just already have this preconceived notion that this is the standard, this is what it should be. And from my own perspective, without going into it with any sort of expectations or prejudices going in, like I have to say it definitely earns its title as one of the very best films ever made. So I don't know if have you ever had a chance to see it?
No, I've never seen it. No.
Oh man, I highly recommend if you just like good storytelling and good dramatic kind of the way it all unfolds, and you get so many different perspectives of this central character and who he is, and whenever you finally get down to the core of it, there's nothing like the end and the impact that it has on your understanding of this character. It's phenomenal. I won't say any more about that because I definitely recommend going and checking it out.
I do really want to know like how you got your movie channel started. I didn't even know that you had the music channel, but I want to know like how you got your movie channel started, how you came up with the name, because the name is A+. So
well, thank you.
but
I've actually been really self-conscious about the name, and there's kind of a mixed answer to that question. My son was really, really big into he's always been, this is probably not the best thing for him to be watching, but he's a big video gamer, and he's always been into he turned me on to the Angry Video Game Nerd so long ago. And I was watching this guy, like watching the skits that he's doing, and I'm going, man, that's the kind of stuff I used to like do. Like I used to like joke around and like try to, and I was like, man, if I had really stuck with it, like I could be doing stuff like this, just having fun with it. Not like where he's at, not like the whole, oh, I could make a freaking, I could earn 1 million subs. No, not like that. Just like, man, how fun to do this. Like, and it made me realize how much I wish I hadn't stopped doing it. And I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, and I keep telling him, whatever it is that you guys want to do, because I have 3 kids, 2 of which are on spectrum. And so I have to be a constant support and constant telling, it's all about, you can do whatever it is that you set out, what your goals are in life. I want you to feel like you are supported by us. Like, I believe that you are capable of doing whatever it is that you set your mind to. And then at the same time, I'm preaching that, I'm going, well, I guess I need to be some kind of an example. And if I'm going to just, and again, don't expect that it's going to necessarily go anywhere, but just see where it does go, because again, you never know. And I decided, dude, you've got to stop telling yourself it just like that it's so unrealistic or that it's so this. It's like, forget all that, because right now you're telling your kids that, follow whatever it is that your heart is set on. If there's something you love, that you have a passion for, put in the work, put in the time, and commit yourself to doing it. And I was like, well, dude, show them, do something that shows them, and that kind of gets them involved and interested too, because it's and something to where you can pass it along and teach them, all the stuff that you learn about, cinematography and editing and sound design and, all of that kind of neat stuff. And of course, we all love sitting down and watching movies together. So that just gives us an excuse to do that whenever new movies come out and we do get the opportunity to check them out. So back in, December, the Multimedia Mega Fan idea actually came from, because I was like, okay, I put in a lot of time into researching what year I needed and where I needed to start and all that. I went in and re-registered myself into some online film courses and was like, okay, I'm ready to go. And so came December, I came up with the idea of Multimedia Mega Fan, because the original idea of the channel was to touch upon, first of all, it was supposed to feature me and the kids for the most part. And it was supposed to be about celebrating our love for all 3 mediums, movies, music, and television. And it was supposed to basically be to serve as an all platform. And then the more you dive into the education of YouTube, and learn about YouTube and how it works, the more you learn about, well, you need to niche down your stuff. So it's not a good idea to have a multi-interest platform. If you're going to do that, you need to break it down into two channels. And so I'm glad that you actually said the multimedia mega fan thing actually works for you, because I actually was a little self-conscious about that for a long time after dropping. I was like, okay, I just moved all the music to a different platform. I do have another video game channel that I started with my kids, but we literally only have 2 videos as of right now, because I have had we have had no time to do any more videos for that one lately. So I haven't even been like telling people that one's there just yet, because I don't have it fully up and running yet. And so, but the mega fan idea is another reason why recently I just realized too, why I wanted to step away from doing more just basic movie reviews and critiques, because I want it to be, that's what the channel is about. I want it to be from there are enough people out there giving you the perspective of the critic. And that's totally cool. Like I obviously watch the critics and I accept the critic, and I do love that. But what I have also seen from big and small channels that I've been following, like Chris Stuckman, which is somebody that's been doing it for a long time, but then finally his dream job comes along. He gets hired as a director to do his own film. And he comes out and says, you know, I'm not going to stop doing my YouTube channel, but I'm changing kind of the direction of where it's going, because that's what he said. And he's expressed it a few different times, that he got to a point to where he felt the pressure to review every single new movie that people were talking about, every new movie that was trending. And being an honest critic, sometimes that meant he'd have to go up there and talk about how bad of a movie it was, how poor of a job whoever did, the writers or the director or the editor. And I get it that if somebody is a genuine lover of film, at a certain point, despite the fact that, yes, you're being honest, yes, you're talking about movies, but you're losing the joy in it. And you're just becoming another, even though you are being honest, and there's no shame in that, you are just becoming yet another voice that sits there and says, yeah, nah, boo, this was no good. And I'm not saying people shouldn't say, boo, it's no good if they feel like it's no good. Of course they should. But where I want to come from on my channel, to kind of come from it from a different angle, and I still want to discuss movies in a review-based form, and I still want to address what are commonly considered as complaints or issues surrounding the film, but I want to focus more around celebrating what it is that the people that consider themselves, like the Alien franchise, take that just as one singular franchise, just popped into my head. Okay, and people can sit there and argue all day long about, yeah, the first one's a great film, the second one's a great film, and then from that point forward, people are going to go back and forth all day long as to were any of them any good. And some of them are going to say all of them past the second one suck. Some people are going to say all of them past the first one, despite the fact that they're not the first and second one. They're pretty decent. And I follow along the lines of like that kind of person, to where I follow through with franchises. Like, you should see my collection. I've got like literally, it's just franchises after franchises after franchises. I follow through with it, even if it gets really bad after a while, but I can still enjoy it, even if it gets really bad. So I don't want to focus on why people should hate it or should stay away from it. I want to focus why, you know what? Yes, it's true. This is a commonly referred to issue. Yes, this is what people say about it. But you know what? I like it anyway, and here's why. And that's it, you know? And so that's where I kind of felt like moving forward, I want the content to actually be more true to the name Mega Fan, because I felt like I was losing touch with that after doing some of those reviews where I had to kind of give really honest and not so flattering reviews. And even then, even as short into my career as I am with it, I could see that if somebody sticks with that and makes it like, dude, I'm going to do weekly videos like that, there's no joy to that. You're not spreading joy. You're not spreading love. And then even then at that certain point, you're going, man, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's what I've seen. Like, people, like at a certain point, they just lose a love for doing it like
You
that.
get burned out. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I want to keep it fun, keep it light, and keep it about celebrating love for film and cinema instead of trashing what sucks so much about each little thing and being so overly critical, because there are enough people out there that provide that insight.
I think that you are going about it the most like honest, fantastic way. Like that's a good mindset to have that you have. And if you can in the future get your kids to do the original idea and come on there for like maybe a kids movie or something. I don't know how old they are, but a movie that you think that they will enjoy, or a family film or whatever. I think that that's really great. And I've seen your videos, I've seen the success of your videos, and I just think it's awesome. That's great.
Man.
We need more people like you, not just in the movie YouTube area, but just like in YouTube in general, just like more positivity and stuff like that. Because unfortunately, like the hate clicks, or like the hate videos, like they get more clicks, unfortunately. But that's just the nature of the beast. That's how it is sometimes. And just having you being able to express more positivity, even with franchises that the general public probably doesn't like, you're able to find some sort of joy and goodness in it, even though if some people think it's a piece of crap. So I think that's awesome. We do have to round out this video. Why don't you plug your channel one more time? Let everyone know where they can find you. Let everyone know like your next video coming out within the next 2 weeks or anything like that. Obviously you talked about Poltergeist, but yeah, it was a blast talking to you. Thank you so much.
Trace, man, I really appreciate you having me on, dude. I'm so honored to be here, and I look forward to doing it again sometime, and definitely look forward to having you over on the channel as well at some point. So
if I'm invited, I will.
All righty, absolutely. Open invitation, man.
So this has been Jonathan that I got to sit down with, and he is part of our film fan community. So until next time, I'll talk to you later.
All righty, man. Have a good evening. Thank you, Trace.
Snarare det är också upp